Man, hello. I should be live. I'm gonna put the volume down on my headset a little bit. Might put the volume down on desktop a little bit as well. There we go. Hello everyone, we should be coming towards the end now. I think there's only two stages left, or at least two playable stages. Oh, it would be useful if I pops the chat out so I can see it. Pop out chat. Put that over to the side, I think. Yeah, make that invisible. Okay, everything's there. Alright, hope everyone's doing well. Just gonna wait a moment for... Well, there's Stream Elements, just need to wait now for Discord to pop. Which shouldn't be too long. Well, while we wait for that, I think I do actually have some. Yes, I do. I have one role. And I'm going to do it because, god damn it. Yeah, screw it. It's a new week, I can get more random. Ah, bastards, only a 4.
I'm scavenger. Leave the dirty work to me. Just pay me like my other...
Ah, I only need 4 more rolls. I can probably do that. How long do we have anyway? 5th of the 10th. That's not bad. That's a decent amount of time. Alright, there we go. Back to whatever we were doing. There's free solo in the event shop too. Oh yeah, I think I've gotten 2. Never mind, not 2 of them. I think I got 3 of them. Yeah, I may have prioritized those over the tokens. I'll be getting the tokens as well, obviously. I'll be grinding it throughout the week, but still. I do have a tendency to go for the headhunting first. Anyway, he feels a ridiculous, unbearable anger in a vastly bewildering emptiness. Light and shadow. Okay. I mean, just block the front. They're gonna get that one probably, unless I put Lapland there. Or Lapland's there pointing down. I think that's probably... Oh, 1, 2... Is it? I think it's 3 tiles. That probably could do it. At least managed to beat the boss from Fire Within Sand. Oh yeah. Redid events so far for the blue certs, though EX8 CM is still an effing pain. Now let me see then. I think, so I know the boss fight for stage 8 is quite difficult, though I also heard apparently true damage is the thing to go for. So I've got Amia, which is true damage, with her Chimera. I'm fairly certain unfortunately Gone Glows is only arts, isn't it? Yeah, I don't think it's true. Nah. I think Ami is probably my only main true damage that I've really leveled up. But we'll see how it goes. Hello, hello, how you doing? Just got done helping little bro beats the event. Oh, nice. Doing well, just starting. Just like with next boss, Karma will have fun with. I just now altered it back in the day, and that was already stressful. Ooh. I suppose if push comes to shove, I'll get a support unit in. It's been a little while since I've had to get support units, I think. But, you know, I'm not shy from doing it. I do it normally when I'm not streaming. Anyway. The town feels so lively today. Is it because the conference is about to start? Mate, do you not hear the bells of Notre Dame in the background? Maybe. There are explosions everywhere. Everyone's so excited. It's like 4th of July when you hear explosions and you don't know if they're fireworks or people shooting. Hey, what the hell? They ain't got time to do that. Is that an executor? And a legatus? What's going on? A parkour competition? Parkour? That sounds like fun. Why don't you join in? Imagine these two like chasing each other practically to the death, and then they just start building a whole bunch of people joining in. Let's go. See if we can catch up with them. Town gets attacked and I can't. I love the Sankta so much. It's just just a bunch of goofy little gremlins. I can't with them. They should be far enough. You're a stubborn one, aren't you, Federico? As are you. I thought you didn't have a mission. Aren't you practically on vacation? I don't get it. Is there a reason you can't get off my case? What did I ever do to offend you? My last mission was in Syracuse, to recover the personal effects of a local Sankta. Oh, I hope it's not the old guy. Among them was a notebook. In it, he wrote that he once saw a female Sankta come into contact with a male Sarkaz. Alright. I can see why you'd look into that, but what does it have to do with me? I'm decidedly male, in case you can't tell. I don't know, you look like a little bitch. That was awful. I'm sorry. I followed all the leads I had and found the Sankta woman's address. 7-265 via the Veritas. No, not the Veritas. It's not Ritus. God damn it. Fuck it. Pagos Devonus. That is actually its own little segment you can read when you want. We can tell you where if you want. Okay. And when you made it there, you found that she was already passed away. She already passed away. That's correct. So you had no choice but to keep following her tracks. Then, you found she had been taking suspicious trips, and that she always contacted a specific legatus before she left her journeys. Right, so you really were her friend then. You were actually helping her sneak out then, weren't you? This is good. This is very good. And here I thought I gave myself away in Victoria, or left some evidence after I talked to Anduin. Never would I have thought it was because I helped Theolia out of the goodness of my heart. This might be some kind of fate. Are you done musing? Federico, if my hunch is correct, you probably can't feel what I'm feeling right now, yes? No? Yes. And I do not care. Oof. The emotions of those I arrest are not of my concern. Does that mean you care about the feelings of anyone else you're not arresting? No. She... Man, this is the old guy from Up. You and I are the same. Neither of us cares for empathy. The way I see it, we would be great friends. Hello, Dingo. How you doing? Yeah, that's the thing I like about it. It's not that he can't feel it. He just doesn't give a shit. Actually, I think Laterano could use more people like you. Someone who doesn't let their empathy get to them. Always doing things by the book. I don't disagree. Perhaps I could pay you a visit in the not the paternity ward. Okay, apparently Oren has a kid now, and I'll visit you in paternity. In the penitentiary after your trial, and we could discuss it more. Christmas, do not say that word in this place. God. So that's your reason, Oren. Well, here comes the worst of my troubles. Why must an honest-to-God good guy like me be blessed with such rotten luck? Oh, shut it. Good day, Cardinal Villiv. I still don't know if you're good or bad. I guess we'll find out. Good day, Executive Federico. The 7th Tribunal will handle the traitor from this point forward. The Notorial Hall's involvement is concluded. Please send a copy of your report to the matter to both the 7th and 1st Tribunals. This is my authorization code. Confirmed. In accordance with all relative regulations. So, would you like to go back to your vacation or join me in arresting the Astray? It's up to you. And you just leave. Would you like to stay out and would you like to stay and help out for more? Just does the peace sign and disappears. I swear we've barely seen anything of the man, and every time it always leaves a good impression. I love it 'cause I can't stop thinking of the Vine with the guy just like, you know, doing the peace sign and then just disappearing. Oh, he is such a mood. He is me when I do work, when I do any job. I do what needs to be done and then I'm gone. Vel, has anyone ever heard Federico say goodbye to anyone? You can stop trying to cozy up to me. I thought you were here to help me. If you were here to arrest me, you would have waited until Federico was done, right? Of course, it's possible that he couldn't take me. Get your head out of the gutter, Karma. But that wouldn't mean you had to send him home, right? I simply realized that you might be more useful than I expected. When I read Federico's report, I thought you were just Underwayne's helping hand, but it looks like you're not as much of an imbecile as I thought. That's a thank you with a question mark. I'm honoured. Cecilia's existence is a threat to Laterano. You don't want this threat to be wiped away. Not because you want to see it executed, but because you want to use it to make a deal. It really makes my heart ache, you know. It's such a windfall, but no one's trying to touch the pile of money. I'm the most faithful to Laterano a man can be. Honestly, you know that, Villiv. Sucks to be Laterano if a 5-year-old girl is a threat to you. I'm His Holiness's biggest supporter. His ideals, anyway. But you don't agree with the way he does things, correct? Like, this conference, for example. You don't think there's any point to it. And you think there is? Philip, how much do you know about Victoria these days? You wouldn't understand just how close we are to war. And at the time, at a time like this, His Holiness put up all the political capital he accumulated over the last couple of decades. But even though he managed to get most of the countries to bend, the envoys who showed up hardly have any weight. In more peaceful times, maybe we could use this as a foundation and slowly pave our way forward. But we don't live in peaceful times. There's no time for us to dilly-dally around if we actually want to see his ideals put into place. Boy, someone needs to send this game to the UN. I saw a lot of even dirtier moves in Victoria with my own eyes. I won't say it's the right way to do things, but if doing the right thing doesn't get us to the finish line... Tell me, would you rather be a woman of integrity? You know, you usually aren't this talkative in situations like this. What are you waiting for? I think this has taken place during the Victoria arc, like very early on, because they're still talking about what's happening in Victoria as opposed to it having happened. I would say at the very least during or after Chapter 9, but probably not during the actual Londinium side of things. Actually, I just changed my mind. Oh? After travelling out there for so long, I'm buying less and less into the idea that Sankta is special. Ooh, don't really want to be saying that. Hang on, I think I just saw something. There we go. We've got the empathy thing. We feel what we feel, and that's it. What just happened, though? Even I have to admit, I felt something ancient and primal. And it originated in my heart. Somehow everything happens in 1099. Nerl Altar, Golden Glow, Syracusa. 1099 was a very busy year. Moreover, we got ourselves a trump card. All those envoys are gathered here in Laterano, and we are blessed with a miracle. What does that mean? What could it mean? There is still a lot for us to do, isn't there? I think you might be mistaken about one thing. You think there is no place for the Summit of Nations during troubled times. I suggest you look at it from the other side. That said, I think you have the right idea about one point. There are certain things that His Holiness can't do himself, and I also don't think there's any harm in having a backup plan. You're a lucky man, Oren. I do have use for you. Oren exists to be used. Some people like that. Come out, Patia. At least you still have some sense in you, and your sarcast friends aren't running around the city, joining in on the commotion. If any of the envoys saw the sarcast actively sabotaging the Summit of Nations in Laterano, things wouldn't end nearly as well. Well, that got her out. What are you trying to say? Anduin, is on his own way to the Basilica, isn't he? What do you know about him? I've got no reason to tell you, Patia. But before I go settle my score with him, I need you to stop the stupid, annoying little tricks. While your people might still have some sense in you, and you aren't actually trying to sabotage the Summit of Nations, I'm warning you, don't push your luck. Things don't always go the way we want them to. Oh? So now it's your turn to convince me. I think she's been doing it ever since the beginning. This is just a little advice. If you don't want to take it, well, that's no feathers off my plumage. Fiametta, tell me, what are you thinking? What else could I be thinking? I'm doing my job. I'm settling the score. It's not that complicated. Why did you leave the Pontifica cohorts 8 years ago? They don't get to leave the city. Only the tutorial hall does. What does it matter? Why ask about that? I don't know what you're brooding about. Maybe you put your hopes on me or something. But I don't really get your whole thing about Lateran Liberi is about. Oh god, the stare is back. And I couldn't care less about it. A teammate I trusted betrayed us. One of my friends got hurt because of it, and another got exiled. There might even be traitors who have eyes on them because of it. I mean, I would say Mosima's hardly exiled when she seems to keep coming back. You make a good point, Speedy. I think last stream or the stream before, I said it looks like the guns on the wall in Call of Duty Zombies, but break glass in case emergency does also work. She has to keep her identity hidden from the public, though. That is true. I made this mistake once, and I won't let it happen again. I'll protect them. It's as simple as that. And I'm not going to apologize if it doesn't fit with your fantasies. Oh, hello. Speak of the angel. Demon. She's literally the one that can be I can be your angle or your devil. Don't get cocky, Mistima. In the same position, wouldn't you do the same? Oh, love, she said no. Oh, okay. You're right, I would. It's true. I've got a fantasy. Oh, whoa. But so, what if it's a fantasy? Fantasies, ideals... If I didn't chase things I once believed in, I wouldn't have made it this far. Maybe I'm too naive to trust others with my ideals, but I have no regrets. I don't get you. That's why I'm not going to back down. Even if everything I'm doing seems stupid and annoying to you, it's my mission, and I will see it through to the end. If you want to stop me, you'll have to take it up. You'll have to take me down. Very well, Patia. Sankta may not be able to shoot their own kind, but I can.
Just wait for us to get back, Doctor.
Fear not! Here I come! Doctor? Ha! Kick ass!
Oh, I should have put Ah, fuck it.
安心して背中をつけていいよ。
I should have put her down, but it's fine. I've seen this before, I do not like it.
Solid positioning.
Ooh, that was a lot of damage in one go. Right, I do not like that. Ooh. What do I do in that case?
Skill. Distract them. Simple and clear.
Okay. That's where the problem lies because they get the reload. Right, fall back.
I'll protect everyone. Try some of my
You'll have to try harder than that.
ちょっとからかってあげようっと。
Yeah, I need to...
Push forward, Commander! Hurrah! Barrage! Now's the time to help everyone out.
It'll be nice if I can get a healer back. That's unfortunate. Fucking Christ, how many? Oh, that's not going to work because they're going to target her, aren't they?
I'm listening. There you are.
Quickly.
安心して背中
Oh,
をつけ
come
てい
on.
い
It
よ
was just there.
There's
Oh, well.
something yucky for you.
Yeah, that wasn't going to happen. Oh, those are going to be annoying.
Here's something yucky for you.
I should have had a...
Try some of my specialty.
This isn't going to work out.
Try me.
I'm just going to keep delaying.
Hora, hora!
I'm still waiting for that bloke. Where did he go?
Forward, Commander! Hurrah! Isha nara koko ni. Try some of my specialty.
If I win like this, I'm going to be confused.
Anyone hungry?
Yeah, there's no way I can.
I will not back down. I won't back down. I'm try some of my specialty.
Come on, cherry quasi tesoro.
You're kidding me.
You've never ever noticed the hideous
There you are.
conspirators. Skill. Distract them. Got it. Try some of my specialty.
This is where it's unfortunate. Ah, no, I do not. I mean, it shouldn't have won in the first place, but... don't think I can retreat so quickly.
Simple and clear. Here.
Oh, that's not going to do it. No. Ah, it's too slow. Oh well.
Specialty.
Yeah, it was a good idea, but I didn't notice it until I just had just a little bit too less of time. The fact that they still won then such a stupid thing. Oh, that's fine. It still won somehow. That's enough, Patia. Penance rocks that stage. Well, I can imagine, yeah. It's not over. Patia, right? Most of the gun knights have been reassigned to the Envoy's village. Your mission is over. I don't really get it, though. It's not like Anduin doesn't know who the most powerful guy in a basilica is. Why the whole charade? He probably wanted to make sure he got an audience with His Holiness. You were actually listening to Limuin? This has nothing to do with that. He is free to settle his score, but that doesn't mean I'm letting him get away. Sure. Shall we get going? Once we get past... I was about to say once we get paddled. Once we get Patia settled in. Right. How should we face this revelation? These mysterious, indescribable moments, these ambiguous yet to be explained urges, these unascribable, esoteric intuitions. Where will it lead us? What kind of choice does it want us to make? Or perhaps this is merely a hallucination caused by the fatigue of life? Careful, mate, you're getting very close to sounding like Howsit. But revelation is called as such only because we willingly believe in it, or we're told to believe in it. We could even say that if we knew it to be absolutely temporal, even if we deconstructed it into ice-cold objective logic, regrettably man will still shine a spiritual light upon revelation. Thus, when this cruel cycle when this cruel reality befalls us, the coward can point fingers at the ambiguity of the revelation, while the devout can repent their insufficient understanding. In any case, we can, at the very least, ascertain that we ourselves are not the root cause of everything. Ah, Anduin. I was expecting you. You don't seem surprised at all. I can't say this was the result of any particular manipulation. The greatest lessons I've learned in life is that people always cross paths, no matter their intention. But in the end, we all have our own goals. The guardian keeper and executor of the most supreme law. The 11th man to take the name of Evangelista. The patron saint of sacrifice and unity. And to stand atop the Lateran Curia as the apostle, His Holiness the Pope. That is a long-ass title. Why recite all those titles if you do not believe in... Oh, yeah, same thing. Oh, so that's actually his name then. Evangelista the 11th. The girl does not remain in your grasp. She's still young. There is still much for her to experience. Yet we are old. So old that we know our way around conspiracy, political machination, and internal strife. What will you do now? Will you use this fine gift you spent decades preparing on her? I'm not foolish enough to stand in a young girl's way. Why, you can say that so easily. It took me a few... I had to read it twice over before saying it out loud, but it's because I'm somewhat familiar with the word. I've heard Evangelista before, how you want to say it, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's a j or a g or a h, but I sort of say j or h. Even if she triggered some kind of miracle? No, this miracle is Laterano's. It belongs only to Laterano. God's grace has fallen upon us. There is nothing more to it. Do you enjoy history? I love history. For history to become history, you generally need an origin point. And when some kind of variable is introduced, to stir up the water and form ripples, those ripples are history. Take a shot for every time he says history in one... What of the object that was thrown into the water in the first place, then? Perhaps history does not care about it. And neither do I. The girl called Cecilia will go where she wants to do, and do what she wants. Someday in the future, perhaps the name Cecilia will be known far and wide. It could also remain forever in obscurity. Hello, Jackal. How you doing? I don't know why, but when I saw Like a Messiah, I just thought of The Life of Brian, where it's like, listen, I am not the Messiah. He is the Messiah. But that has nothing to do with you or me. It has nothing to do with the both of us. We have a mutual understanding regarding that, do we not? You make yourself sound like a kind of grandfather sending his granddaughter away. This is nothing more... Oh, this is nothing more than you getting what it is you seek. You now get to explain this miracle. In exchange, Cecilia earns the right to leave this place. This cannot even be called a trade. She's never had the right to choose. No, I never wanted to do anything to her. I believe that, to be honest. I never really thought... In any other country, I would assume she'd be dead the moment she walked into the building, but this particular one I'm willing to make the exception of. No, I never wanted to do anything to her. Laterano has stood for millennia, and neither should it, nor shall it, ever waver for a mere mixed-blood child. He, yes, a purple-haired girl, not so sure. True. But it's significantly harder to get someone killed when you don't have the backing of the government. I mean, they certainly could do it, but I imagine there would be some form of protection. I think the worst case scenario is Cecilia wouldn't be able to leave. That's kind of the problem. She would most likely become the girl in the tower, so to speak. Much for her own protection, just as much as anything else. So it's still a good thing that she was able to leave. I only hope that apostles before and after you feel the same way, and that those expunged names were not erased for nothing. Ooh, who got expunged? We cannot ask for too much. Sins shall always be sins. Only time can wear them down. And it wears them down to the point that no one remembers they were once sins. I cannot cast blame on our forebearers' cautiousness. However, neither shall I accept those sins in order to cover them up. Huh. New age versus old age. You've got a bit. You do kind of have a little bit of new age versus old age religion here, where it's like, well, you know, these things were once sins. It's like, yeah, but no. So, as long as our mutual understanding stands, am I right? Oh, so long as, not so as long. As I said, it is very boring to grow old. Thanks to all these things that we experienced in the past, we are always fearful. On the fence with just about everything. I will say one thing that I can't... Even though I'm never going to try it, I can sort of imagine an Ian McKellen voice for this bloke. The olds don't have the luxury of possibility, Anduin. We have no choice but to continue down the path that was already laid. A path that was already laid. That goes for you too. I know your journey. Of your journey. My journey. Right. I once journeyed, and I heard the purest of prayers and the most vicious of curses. I stepped into sumptuous palaces and plucked my shoes out of bloodstains. I saw shameless sinners beg for mercy, and I closed the simplest of caskets on innocent children. It was always the same. Their cries always died down, and their tears always dried up, and I always stood right next to them, attempting to comfort them. In all honesty, he seems like kind of like the priest that actually does his job, if anyone gets what I mean in that sense. Like the ones you always see in films and that just sort of continue doing their thing and continue helping regardless of what all the other bullshit around is. I told them that salvation would come as long as we believed. But no, nothing ever happened. Not even the briefest passing glance. The holy city of Laterano has weathered every storm that's come its way. How would a saint sitting on his soft armchair and a Sankta that know only to sing the praises of their own dignity know that there exists hardship in the lands beyond? It's interesting that Anduin didn't abandon his religion once all this happened. Usually in media, they are like, screw this, I'm out. Yeah, that or they twist the religion that they follow to suit how they see the world now, which is equally as bad. Sometimes you do get the character that's gone through hell and back and it sort of strengthens their beliefs in that. You do see that a few times. Especially in, like, military stuff, we have the chaplains. But otherwise, yeah, sometimes it's... But to be fair, it's something that happens a lot. People do tend to lose their faith in that when they see a lot of shit. Hello, Azur. All the hopeless penance... Penance? Yeah, all the hopeless penances, withered consolations, and deafening silences. I wouldn't call penance hopeless, to be fair. Pretty good defender, if I'd say anything. Do you know how heavily silence weighs on my heart? Hey, look. Great medic, but, you know, calm down. I seek only an answer. Also, very cool they didn't do the classic religious organization is evil shtick. Well, to be fair, they already did that with the Church of the Deep. So it would be a bit boring if they kept doing it. will we never find... Well, we will never find salvation, will we? Salvation, I often hear the word... Oh, sorry. Salvation. I often hear this word from the faithful. As though a sort of incomprehensible ascendance. As though an ark that will rescue all the drowning. both a reference to Noah's Ark and Arknights, Ark. Anyway. Yeah, but that religion church worships not really anything holy to begin with. No, but they still worship something. And that's kind of the thing. I mean, a religion's a religion. It, regardless of what it is you're believing in. Which is how things like Scientology count as a religion, despite it not, you know, following the classic principles of a religion. I do also like that this is kind of picking apart Christianity and Catholicism, though. Because, you know, the talk of salvation and how, like, oh, you know, this is something that people act as if it's a, you know, a thing that will save them and all that sort of thing. Like, it's still sort of picking at the seams, but it's not like, you know, full on, it's bad kind of thing. Behold, our grand and glorious Lateran city. It is so splendid and magnificent, solemn and refined, with a perpetual aroma of vanilla and sugar wafting in its air. All of this is a reward for abiding by the laws. All of this is our proof of salvation. Yet, this paradise is only a paradise because of the harshness of the wastes beyond. We could have been a star in the barren lands, a torch in the cold night, a North Star, if you will. Don't you dare say I'm wrong. Laterano is not some ancient concept that floats only in scripture. It stands right here and now. Laterano can save everyone. She cannot. And why is that? Because we are only us. Because we are the Sankta of Laterano. And they are not us. They conceal. They become disillusioned. They consign. They become disappointed. They struggle and they hate. And yet Iberia kind of is better at worshipping Lateran than you lot are. They themselves mould and shape their own enemies. A man-eating monster of both lust and disgrace, with the flames of destruction hidden in its heart. Why do you think these lands have seen countless dynasties of nations come and go in the flames of war, while the miracles of Laterano have withstood the test of time? Anduin, they are Inferno itself. That's why empathy is not really a good thing. They can't trust others who are not Sancta. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. They really get it easy when it comes to the empathy thing. They don't have to rely on, you know, understanding people in the same way. They automatically have at least some grasp of how a person's feeling. They don't need cues and such like that. But then that also alienates them to everyone else. He sounds uncomfortably like an uber nationalist preacher. Yeah, I was starting to get that there with the us versus them thing. It did start making me, oh, hang on there, Mr. Evangelista, you're starting to sound very evangelical. And you chose to leave us. You left behind the virtues that shaped us under the stubborn belief that your water could extinguish the flames of Inferno. That your candle could illuminate the light. Why seek my answer You chose to spare for yourself long ago. 3 times have I visited Laterano. For the rest of my life, I wandered the lands beyond. I've met many men and women, and I do not need the Lateran Pope to tell me how dark their hearts can get. Yet, there is also a ray of light in them, a radiant, blinding light that I can never forget. Ah, he must have met Nell. And I will never forget. Is it just me, or does it look like Anduin is all the time distracted by a smartphone in his hand? It does kind of look like it, yeah. Especially when he does the closed eyes. It always looks like he's looking down. And I still look at that pattern on his outfit and think that it's smoke from a cigarette going down. And every time I look at it. I was set ablaze by the light. Perhaps the fire is destined to be extinguished the moment it is first lit. But I could never again return to the eternally radiant Laterano. He's holding a motel Bible. Yet, this perpetual radiance is cold and distant. Laterano's light shines only a select few, and its might exists only to project this image of fabricated glory. In that case, I would rather be a torch that burns by the feet of those who are freezing to death. Even if its flame will soon be extinguished. Anduin, flames are destined to be extinguished. You seek to turn its perpetual light into a flame, and the flame will meet its fate one day. When that happens, there will be no more light, not even a cold and distant one. Heat death of the universe be alike. If you shatter the twin moons in the sky, then those struggling in the cold night will be so in darkness, left only to close their eyes. Light will ultimately become a fantasy, a lie of a dream. Would you call eternal night a kindness? You despise the small size of this paradise. But do you know how hard it is for a small paradise upon these lands? You scorn its small size, but have you ever considered that there are those who try to live an honest life? What right do you have to turn this paradise into tinder for that wildfire of yours, destined to be put out? This world is hostile to beauty. To allow this beauty to persist forever, do you know how much the Lateran people, countless Laterans, generations of Laterans, have had to sacrifice? Anduin, who are you to so handily deny all this with a few trivial words? Preposterous. There are those trying to live an honest life in Laterano, but does that somehow make the lives of those outside any less real? They hold out hope despite their hardships. They follow the scriptures and the laws. They believe that they believe that they can change their lives. And they look forward to the rewards for their hard work. Mrs. Balin from the Rock Salt and Sundry Store, Deacon Landy of the Tidal Chapel, Little Sangre, Little Blood? Oh no, that's Sagade, not Sangre. Who ties the ropes on the bells. Tell me, is there anything wrong with their faith, with their hope? Tell me, O great and glorious apostle, Pope Evangelista XI, the great protector of our paradise and defender of history, what did Rocamare deserve? Why did Rocamare deserve to be destroyed? Answers. Questions. So this is the answer that I sought. So this is the question I wanted to ask. Something has come loose. Something that once had me tied up for so long. Something is roaring, struggling. Yet I feel only at ease. As though I'm bathing under the saliferous sunlight. It's high noon. The gunshots rang out almost at the same time. I like that I like how he has the flintlock type gun, yet the one that upholds the history and all that just has a revolver. Which, I mean, it's an old looking revolver, but still. Like, they've kind of swapped the symbolism. The law is carved into each Sancta's flesh and blood. And honestly, again, this is an amazing image. Oh, I love this so much. And one must pay a price to break it. I knew that. There is a bottomless abyss beneath my feet. I've taken that step already. A great force slams me into a wall, and the sculpture relief presses into my bones, with the statue behind me crumbling to the ground. There is no question that it was the strength of a patron firearm. Though Evangelista XI's body is old and frail, he is far stronger than he seems. However, I try my best to open my eyes and make out his figure among the smoke and dust. The old man is still standing in the middle of the basilica, but there is no longer a smile on his face. He looks even older than he did when I stepped into this place. But the halo above his head shines as bright as ever. The law is our flesh and blood, the painful price to pay. I just realised, if he shot at Anduin, won't he fall as well, or are popes immune to that? Price? Also, not to mention, Anduin hasn't fallen yet either. Then I realised what the real question here is. The halo above my head is not glowing any darker than it used to. Oh, so yeah, so his hasn't either. They both shot at each other, but they both... Ooh. I see. Both you and I came out of this unscathed. What a surprise. It's worthy of celebration, though. I was prepared to pay the price. You're a pious follower, Anduin. Perhaps that is why you were not born in Laterano. In Laterano, we do not believe in our faith, do we? We live as part of faith itself. We Sancta have been its prisoners ever since the very moment the halos above our heads started to glow. Is it possible that the law looks at this and thinks that it's not worth shooting at each other over the argument. Like, it just seems weird. Like, it's such a... Like, this is such a standard law that I thought it was automatic. I didn't think anything actually really decided it. I just assumed the moment you aim with the intent to shoot, that's it. I thought it was, like, hard built into them, but it can't be if that's the case. Maybe it's also like a test, like with, you know, God telling the guy to kill his kid and stops him before he actually does it to say, you know, you've proven your faith. Maybe it's something like that. Both of them have proven their faith by aiming and shooting at another angel. What exactly is this law that we, the Sankta, believe in? What exactly does it mean to fall? Throughout Laterano's long history, each apostle has had the authority to interpret the commandments and derive from them new rules and decrees, even placing them above all others. Laterano is built upon this law. All Sancta know, violate the rules, the commandments, all the laws, and you must pay the price. The fallen Sancta are no longer connected to all other Sancta. Their patron firearms reject them. Fallen Sancta are no longer Sancta. And that was another thing that makes me wonder, what are the patron firearms? Do they just spawn in? Or are they made, but then there's some essence of them that, or some essence of the law that's put into the gun? Like, that one makes me wonder a lot. I'd love to know what the components of a patron firearm is compared to regular arts firearms. Fallen Sancta are no longer Sancta. What is Sancta? A Sancta cannot point his firearm at another Sancta. That is a commandment, and it is also our instinct. Instinct. Just like how a man cannot bring himself to take a step forward off the edge of a cliff. I feel like there's plenty that would disprove that. Of course, there are those who can. Oh, okay, I guess it would mention that anyway. And it seems to me you have more than earned the right to speak to that end. I mean, it's not soul-bound since it doesn't get destroyed after they die, since Fiordia's gun was taken instead. True, but maybe it's linked to lore itself, as in a part of lore or whatever that arts or magic or computer or whatever it is that makes the law. And what's responsible for angels falling and all of that sort of stuff. Perhaps that's what's fed into the gun, and that's how the gun rejects it, in the same way that the halos and everything like that rejects them. What makes me different from her? I told you the commandments are instinct, and I told you the commandments are interpreted. Surely, a man of your intellect can tell these statements are mutually exclusive. If the law was constant, then interpretations that were added over time throughout our ever-changing history could never have been instinct. Well, that's just taking a pot shot at the Bible itself. Correct, but you are calling the wrong premise into question. The law is naturally constant, but our interpretation isn't really as ever-changing as you are making it seem. I think of it as the law gives each Sancta one starting firearm proficiency, and if they become fallen, it basically removes that proficiency. Interpretation isn't a coincidence, Anduin. Do you understand? You said the old don't have the luxury of possibility. The law is much older than either of us. The apostle does not interpret the law interprets itself. Why do you think the law is capable of this? Take a look at these... Oh, my apologies. I made such a mess. Here, these structures, statues, stained glass, the exquisite domes and frescoes all around us. Do they seem like they have constructed a particular illusion for us? Do you recall the revelation? If we knew it to be absolutely temporal, even if we deconstructed it into ice-cold objective logic, regrettably, man will still shine a spiritual light on it. So just, even if you absolutely know how something happens, people are still going to say it's God, which is something that happens in the real world. There has only ever been one true law. We are to continue our existence. Rules of nature! Who is we? You speak in French? Follow me. I love how they literally tried to kill each other a moment ago and they're still having a conversation. Ooh. I follow the old man into the depths. I love that it's putting it through Anduin's perspective. Everyone knows that the saints of old are buried under the basilica. Keep your ears open, oh god. They are the most knowledgeable and outstanding men and women in Laterano's long history. Their brilliant marble statues have no eyes, rendering them blind to those who pass by. Oh, so they're like the normal NPCs in Arknights. Also, is the audio okay? Or is that too quiet for you guys? Because I'll be able to hear it fine, but I want to make sure you guys can. Audio's fine? Okay. We head down. Stella recounting the achievements of the past popes line our path. I don't know what Stella is. I'm assuming rock or like monument type things. Among them were the conceited, the noble, and perhaps even the crazed. But not a single one of them ever allowed Laterano to be besmirched. Now, they stand here in silence. Oh, music's going. We head down. This is where the oldest saints lie. They were the ones who plucked the Sancta out of chaos. They were the embodiment of all the virtues of mankind. All those who came after merely imitated them. The nameplates on which their miracles are described are dim and lightless. We head down. Ooh. That sounds mechanical. Did they enter a server room? I do not know where I am. For as far as my eyes can see, nothing here has ever been mentioned in any text or literature. I cannot understand any of this. This should not be part of Laterano. Is this why the Laterans were told to build Laterano here? A low humming sound fills the entire space around us. Strangely, I find myself flustered by all of this. It is not an answer that I sought. It is not something man is capable of establishing or interpreting. It is not something that interpretations, analysis, debates, or reforms could influence. It is not a matter of whether or not you believe in it, why you believe in it, or how you believe in it. After all, this is an undisputed existence. It is one of the few religions that have actually met God. In such a manner, it exists. What is Laterano? What are Sankta? I see. I don't. Can you show me something? We are us only because it links us all together. It molds us. It is the criterion upon which all things are based. The path you and I follow was paved by law. The paths you and I have trodden both lead to the same destination. It allows you and I to continue making our way forward. This is the path it has deemed as correct. Oh, come on!
I can only hope they will come to understand their injustice.
You could have at the very least shown me it. Gah! Also, the only 2-star that I've got. That's a shame, but I'll finish that one later on. I'm assuming it's shown in Portus or whatever it's called. When accumulated obsessions and the past's burning fury collide, he comes to an answer. Is it just me, or has this event remained relatively low level? I know this stage is going to be quite difficult, but I've noticed that this is one of the few events I've played where it doesn't go to Elite 2. Because it has EX stages. But they all have EX stages. I'm fairly certain the other events I've played have had Elite 2 by the time you reach the last stage. We'll see anyway. What am I going to want? I've got true damage, Amir. Yep. Or I'm sorry, pure.
You want to go together?
Gonna go straight into it. Oh, it was a small Iberian town. One that you can't even find on a map or in history books. Salviento. When people still lived there, it was called Rocamare. The Bishop of Rocamare raised a young Sankta. A Sankta growing up here, learning here, and enjoying life to the fullest. This was a humble and barren place, but well suited for the asceticism of a pious life. Is this before or after the profound silence? Except, never mind, there it was. I should just shut my mouth and continue on. Except after the profound silence, life in Iberia was always fragile, no matter how hard people worked. One plague, one famine, or one premeditated infiltration was all it took to bring everything crashing down. To save the hometown that, at the same time, was not his hometown, the Sancta arrived in the holy city of Laterano to ask for any amount of support. The answer received was simple: you are one of us, but they are not. When the Sancta returned to Iberia, that hometown had disappeared. Everything had been completely smoothed over, erased, as if it had never existed at all. Like a grain of sand disappearing into the dust, or a drop of water dissolving into the tide. After a long journey, the Sancta returned to Laterano and emaciated lost soul. He went to the chapel to seek a canonized bishop in search of answers or guidance. But even the canonist could only remain silent in the face of such great doubt. On the pew he sat, remaining there from dawn to dusk. Fiammetta, that was the first time I met Anduin. Is this Lemuel talking, maybe? Forget it. I'll pray for it myself. The repairs here I'll pay for it, rather. The repairs here cost too much. We'll just have to cut back on the afternoon tea and sweets. Your Holiness, I heard the sound of fighting coming from the Basilica. Are you alright? It took you fucking long enough. Within the time it took you to get here, they had already gone down, met God, and came back. Did you stop at the cake aisle on your way? What? You were attacked by heretics? I'm sorry, I failed in my duties. Fret not, Pauladio. Did you forget who won the Basilica's last arm wrestling tournament? God. You did. I was just exercising my wrist a bit, and ended up causing a bit of an accident. See, as much of a bullshit excuse as that is, in a place like this, that sounds right, like no one would really... The unrest within the city has already subsided. Yes, they've dispersed. I didn't even get a chance to grill. Excuse me, can I come in? My apologies. Your Holiness, I'm making a fool of myself. What I meant was, the ones you asked for are here. Please, come in, my children. Salutations, Your Holiness. Good day, Your Holiness. I'm Cecilia. I forgot that she was still there. I forgot that she was with Ezel that entire time, and I was saying actually it's probably a good thing that she had left. Yeah, that was a bit of irony. It's not that I forgot about her, I just thought that she had left. I forgot the part where she was still with Ezel. Ah, welcome. You'll have to forgive me for this mess here. As for you two... what sweets do you like with tea? What happened with Anduin? Do you need me to make something? Let me think. Maybe add a few cubes of sugar to your teacup? Zell, perhaps you should add a few more. Some sweetness might mellow out your nerves. You know, I must be a Sankta because I too have very sweet tea. Ah, yes. Your Holiness, if I wanted to leave Laterano, would you let me go? If I said no, would you obey me? Maybe not. Then go. Your Holiness? Suddenly a halo appears. Karma. It. I'm just thinking like Geralt from The Witcher, where it just goes, fuck. I'm just a poor old man whose greatest wish is to spend the rest of his life in a soft rocking chair. How could I muster the effort to manage a young girl's travel plans? He really does give me Asgore vibes sometimes. Karma would need a crooked halo though. Oh, it definitely would be. Hell, it would be inverted. No idea how that would be physically possible, but somehow. It would be like that thing where it's like bended inwards to make like an 8 shape. But Cecilia is what? Do you still think she's some hybrid of angel and devil? A saint who will usher in the revelation? Cecilia is just a little girl who wants to go outside and see the world, is she not? Imagine you spent days almost a fugitive to protect this girl, not entirely sure where you should go, thinking that if you take her to this place, there's a very good chance she's going to die. And after all this, it's just like, whatever, go, do whatever you want, I don't care. Thinking, so I pissed my pants for nothing, exactly. You're still carrying your mama's guardian gun, right? I'm sorry. Should I leave it with Mr. Ezel? But it's fine, my child. I wonder, could Sankta inherit patron firearms from their parents? Like, it'd be pretty cool if when she becomes old enough that she gets the patron firearm, it ends up being her mother's gun. That it just sort of, you know, it starts to accept her or whatever, like what they seem to do. I think that would be pretty cool. Whether or not this game will ever revisit this character's story, I don't know, but it would be pretty cool if that's something that happens. The acquisition of a patron firearm is a solemn affair. It is supposed to require a grand ceremony, the presence of a guardian, the approval of a mentor, as well as lots of troublesome paperwork. As soon as she is 12, let's hire her at Rhode Island. Totally not a war crime. They keep talking about Kobe 2012. They should be talking about. They should be talking about Amia 1099. But you aren't even of age to obtain a Guardian gun, so just take it with you quietly. Is that really okay? Yes, child. Take the gun. Only in Laterana would this even remotely feel okay. Here, have a pistol. I've got it. You guys need to understand. The urge to make US jokes has been killing me. I've been doing some, but I've really been trying not to let rip. I wouldn't dare call this my boon to you. Each and every gun is a valuable asset to Laterano. But if this is the only keepsake of a child has of her mother, I am sure no one could oppose that. Take it with you, my child. You may not have the physical ability to pull the trigger and take out a bad guy, but it will always remind you of wherever you go. Your journey began in Laterano. Yes, I definitely feel like, even if it's never stated, even if it's never stated in this game ever, I still feel like this will be her patron firearm. This will be the one Law decides is hers. Like, it has to be. That's too symbolic. There's no way it couldn't. Like, someday she's going to find herself actually being able to use the gun. Like, it just feels like that would be the right way to go with her own story. Okay. Thank you, Your Holiness. Azel, go with her. Call it your long-term field mission. Oh, maybe they did go to Rhode Island then. Maybe that's why we've got Azel. Just remember to stop by every now and then. He really is Asgore. Do I really have the right to do that? Of course you do. Is this not the choice that you made? I will do everything in my power to fulfill this mission. Look after Cecilia well. To Shanker at Rhode Island. You see, Cecilia, when you hold pistol like me, you will not miss for fear of shooting on fingers. I just imagine Azel then walking into the room, looking at it like, what are you doing? Girls, it will triple take seeing Cecilia. Azel has basically become the Mandalorian as well. / Joel, which ironically is played by the same guy. Alright. Now be on your way. Time waits for no man. When you get to be my age, all you think about is taking your next nap. When he reaches your age? Motherfucker, I think about that now! I think about that while I'm at work. Mr. Pope, I promise not to follow this path. Oh, I promise not to. I promise to follow this path to the very end. Oh? In that case, I will pray for you. I still don't understand you, Viliv. You're just there. Like, it's weird. Has she actually done anything? Like, that's the thing. It's like, she comes in, she gives an opinion, she discusses things, she decides on things, But like, I can't gauge what she's doing. She's scared off Oren. True. But it's just strange because it's like she has every sort of aspect of her that you would expect her to be either like a solid good guy or a solid bad guy, but ends up just sort of being there instead. It's really interesting because it's like I just it's like I just like want to cut and dry like. Typical Lateran neutrality. Yeah, she is borderline Switzerland. Would you want to fight her? I feel like she would wipe the floor with me. What do you mean? Of course I wouldn't want to fight her. Your Holiness, are you satisfied with this outcome? I got to enjoy some sweets with them. I'm satisfied with that. Asgore. The man has left, just as you instructed. Should I have kept him around a bit longer? Maybe a piece of chocolate would have cheered him up. Anduin? Your Holiness, you're too soft-hearted. No, Valiv. The dream of becoming torches in the cold night is doomed to failure, for all of us. I suppose what I can sort of say about her is she's like Oren in the sense that she has a similar sort of worldview that he has, but unlike Oren that actively tries to do something, even if it's bad, for the sake of it, she's more inclined to stay back and do what is ultimately right by other people first. That's sort of what I get from her at the moment. But serving a functionary a hot cup of tea, that's something we can always do. HR, when they're confronted with the possibility of paying people more, or we can have tea with them. This world is hostile to beauty. May those who reject this aphorism find success. Keep in mind we'll see more of her in this event or in the next event. I hope in the next event as well, actually. She is quite an interesting character. It is time for us to move on to the next task as well. Now that the riots have subsided, let's convene the foreign envoys. Now he's saying he hopes he's wrong. Well, to be fair, I don't think he's ever really been truly against it. Like, he doesn't think it's right, but I suppose he doesn't think it's right for now in some way. Like, because, I mean, to be fair, any good person wouldn't want everyone else to suffer. Like, he knows that trying to help everyone else in the same way that Laterano helps itself wouldn't work. But that doesn't necessarily mean you want everyone else to suffer. So I suppose if there's any sort of chance that something could happen that would help, I imagine it's probably the sort that doesn't want anything like it doesn't want to do help if he thinks it's going to be a risk, and will even fight against people who are objectively right. But if something were to dangle in front of him that could honestly prove to help, he might do that. And I think he's kind of trying anyway, because I mean, he's trying to do the League of Nations. Like, that's already one step towards trying to make the world a better place. So he is kind of doing it, but in his own way, which doesn't necessarily require direct action. To me, it's kind of like two people who want to do the good thing, or want to do the right thing, but opposing ideas as to how to do it. And that's really where the conflict lies. Not so much in terms of right and wrong, but more so how it's done. The revelation is clear. I will do what I must. Also, I do wonder if the law is also like, how about you both try your ways? I kind of feel like it's sort of like, I think like the reason why neither of them fell when it could have done one or the other, or both, I feel like it's probably because the law itself wants to set both of them on their paths. Because maybe one way will work, one way won't, and something like that. Or maybe both need to happen and then eventually converge into a true right way. So either they continue going apart and things don't work, or they go apart, meet in the middle, and it works. That could be what the law's trying to do as well. Because it's kind of strange, because, I mean, from what I can understand, the law is a computer, but it's not a computer in the same way that Svarog is, for example. It's not so cut and dry, it's not so black and white. It does seem to sort of have variables that sort of change itself. Laterano can go out and help, but it still needs to preserve itself. Yeah. Not like... Well, I suppose it would be like GLaDOS if GLaDOS was good. As opposed to Svarog, which is all calculations and algorithm. I often think back to what happened that night. At first, it was just an ordinary cleanup mission. Just another group of Sarkaz raiders. We tracked them down as they made their escape, and came upon the place. Unusual, but there were no signs of hostility, only traces of those men locked in their own time. I received that emergency request for aid. I left you. I abandoned you. The distress signal wasn't very far away. The round trip would be half a day at most. This must be Fiammetta talking. Because if I remember, she left the squad to do something, came back, and that's when everything had happened. I rushed back early. I even rushed back early. Yep, there it is. I remember the mottled texture of the tiles under my feet. I remember the sensation of cold rain falling on my face. I remember your black horns and your tightly closed eyes. Well, they're open at the moment, unless she's talking about her. And Anduin, who had gone missing, but it was just a cleanup mission. It was just another cleanup mission. Why did it have to happen like that? Where did it all go wrong? If I had never left, if I had stayed there, if I had been with you, would none of this have happened? At least it wouldn't have been that by the time I had arrived, everything was set in stone and couldn't be undone. By the way, think about it. Why is Fiammetta still seeking vengeance, but everyone else forgave him? I imagine because she wasn't there. So there's an aspect of it that she can't understand because she wasn't there to witness what had happened. And every time they try to explain it to her, she ignores them. And she's not a Sankta. There's also that, yeah, there's that. I do keep forgetting about that part. I know about the empathy, but sometimes it's such a strange alien concept that I often ignore it. I just think of the characters as regular people. But yeah, like just the fact that she wasn't there, she doesn't understand the way they feel, and she refuses to listen to the reasons. Every time they try to explain it, she has flat out cut them out. So it's partly unfortunate that she can't feel the way they feel, but it's also her own fault, in my opinion, that she doesn't try to understand when they explain it to her. You wouldn't need the empathy of a Sankta if you could actually listen to what people are saying. It's an awful feeling. Truly unbearably awful. That's the only thing I could do was watch. Oh, yeah, and also she blames herself. That's the other thing. I think she's trying to make up... I think she is also trying to make up for it in a way, even though no one really expects it of her. I think she tries to set the right a wrong that she thinks she did. Can the Sancta even explain it for real, though? Or is there... I'm not sure, to be honest. I do feel like there is a story there. Like, they're trying to explain what happened. Like, what he said, or what they did, or what was going on. Something like that. Because I know each time... I think Mostima did end up telling, but I can't remember too much about what was explicitly said. I just know that Fiammetta has been quite stubborn about it. That's not true, Fiammetta. You don't have to shoulder anyone's burden. No, that is my choice. Stubborn. I don't care what power he was lusting after, what secrets he was trying to uncover, what answers he was trying to find. Going into my point of her not listening, I'm sure they would have said what would have happened. I don't care about his ideals, his lofty cause, or who redeemed, or who he redeemed, or who he guided. I will not forgive him. Not because of my beliefs, not because of Laterano, not because of the Pontifica Cohorts, and not even the time that I've lost. I will not forgive him because... Anduin, you betrayed the people who trusted you. Oh, there he is. I mean, would you want to understand the person who tried to kill your friends? Oh no, it's not that I don't understand it. I understand why she's like that. I'm just saying the reasons she is. And I think it does also make her angry that they forgive her simply because she doesn't understand why. And yes, they haven't really explained it to her. And at the same time, she does also sort of not even give them the chance. So it's kind of a mix of both there. But I do think it's that sort of thing. I think it is the fact that she wasn't there at the time. And I think that's the disconnect there. Like, they've got the context, she doesn't. Do you blame Fiammetta for refusing to forgive him despite the direct victims forgiving him? I don't necessarily blame him. Blame her. But... it's the sort of thing where it's like, you can see where it is. You can see where the irony, the sort of like, you know, at least try to see what's happening. It might even help you better with confronting him. But at the same time, it's understandable. That's the thing. It's like, it's a weird thing because, like, on one hand, it's totally understandable, but on the other hand, it's not necessarily the best thing. My old friends. How come you're here in one piece? Obviously, there's no correct answer to this. No, at the end of the day, it's people's feelings. You can't really fault someone for the way they feel. Something could be objectively right or wrong, but you still can't fault them for how they feel. It's why I always like to talk about explanation versus excuse. It might not necessarily be an excuse, but it's an explanation. How come His Holiness can't... How come? How come you're asking me that again? The path was never there in the first place. What good does it do, groping around in the nothingness? Is this your penitence? Penitence? No. I have nothing to repent. Where can I repent? There is no light, no path. Those who suffer must continue to suffer. Those who grieve must continue to grieve. There is no salvation, no paradise. This is Laterano. And it is the Lateran, and it is the only thing that belongs to us. I do wonder, with the shared empathy, I wonder if it sort of doles them out a bit as well in terms of these kinds of feelings. Because, like, if you share, you know, if your feelings share around, it's sort of like, you know, multiple people lifting a weight as opposed to one. Like, do they build up the same sort of intensity of negative emotion in the same way? I imagine they must do, but... Anduin's encounter with God definitely shook him up a lot. Meeting God showed him there is no God. Because one thing I have noticed is, yeah, everyone seems not necessarily docile, but like quite well. You don't see people scared very often. You don't see people angry and upset very often. People seem to be accepting a lot more. And I feel like the constant understanding of everything probably is the reason why. Or the very least a possible reason why. Like, it does feel like it's sort of like, it's like diffusion, it's like dispersing it. You know, you put a drop into a water and it spreads out and loses its potency. It feels like that sort of shared empathy kind of does that. Which then makes me wonder, angels who are on their own, if they don't have that ability, do they struggle more then? I think Exu mentioned that. Did Exu mention that she struggles a bit with the non-Sankta? Because she's surrounded by non-Sankta, she always feels cut off. I think it was Exu, but I might have been thinking of someone else. I think it was Exu talking to the priest about it. Exu mentioned it too. Yes, there it was. So I do wonder if so they probably feel better being around other Sankta because it sort of shares and weakens those builds up of emotions because you can't bottle it in the same way. But it must then become a struggle when you aren't around other Sankta. You'd have to either be incredibly open with everyone you talk to, which could then be weird to other people who aren't used to that sort of thing, or you have to deal with it and it becomes a bit of a struggle. So it is quite an interesting thing. I do find the Sankta really interesting, because they are really alien in that perspective. There isn't really anything else that has this same sort of ability in a way. If the light has always been a lie, no, not a lie. It's real, but not as we wished. There has never been a light, let alone an illumination. What are you babbling about, Anduin? Have I given up? Why would I be here if I had given up? With a barrier this thick. Barrier in the sky, maybe? How am I supposed to embrace them? How am I supposed to embrace them? Embrace who? Maybe I am nothing more than a swindler peddling false hope, who deceived myself into believing it. I like how we were commenting before how Anduin is a good example of a character written whose faith doesn't get shaken after everything he sees. And now suddenly we're in a scene where he's doubting everything about his faith. I don't understand. What is its judgment? Where does it want me to go? Its very presence has already blocked my path. Where shall I find my path? Anduin, wake up! Look who's standing in front of you! Who wouldn't after seeing your god as an AI? I feel like one of the strongest aspects of religion is the fact that there is no available evidence or proof. I feel like if you could see, if there was a god or a creator or something that guided people, and then you could see it for what it is, I feel like most religions would fall apart immediately. I feel like people will end up treating it no differently to a very powerful very powerful autocrat. I don't mean to offend anyone by saying that, but I do feel like there's a certain element that religion maintains that would get lost if you actually see it for what it is. See, you know, if it exists, to see what it then actually is in its existence. Who? Fiammetta. Why are you losing your mind again? Where did your honey tongue go? Your righteous heir? Have you lost your spine? I've never heard of honey tongue before. I've heard of silver tongue. How am I supposed to convict a husk of a madman? Take a good look at who's standing in front of you. I'm a Laterano, Fiammetta. I'm above the Basilica. I'm glad to see you again. No, I'm not glad at all. Make up your mind. Ah. I think someone mentioned Neo earlier. Are you trying to get in the way? You still dare to get in my way? You've been tracking him down for ages. What do you mean getting in your way? Apologise, Anduin. Right now, get on your knees and apologise to Mostima and Lemuel. Do you think you did nothing wrong? I have made countless mistakes. You're still pretty damn smug, aren't you? God forbid. Listen up, Anduin. I don't give a damn what your beliefs are, nor do I care at all if your beliefs have gone to shit. Oh, another amazing piece. She is angry, and then Mostima just looks like she can't be asked anymore. She looks very tired. Lemuel forgave you. Mostima forgave you. Evangelista forgave you. Even if all of Laterano forgives you, I will not. I am sorry. Oh, I am so sorry, Fiammetta. I'm not the one you should be apologising to. If I had the chance, I'd probably do the same thing all over again. Are you for real? You'd say that in front of Fiammetta? I like that. She's not angry at the fact that he said that. She's angry at the fact that she said that to her. And right now, you're not. Very good, Anduin. Take out your gun. You know that won't accomplish anything. You think I care about accomplishing something? I am Malam Kresham. You think that if I kill you right here, Lemuel gets 8 years of her life back? Or that Mostima gets her whole rest of hers? Yes, I am Malam, not Malam. I am Malam Kruchem, not Kresham. Kruchem. Oh, I'm not sure. Ah! No. I originally thought it was something about Hammer, but that's Malleus. I'm not sure what that means, unfortunately. Oh, fuck off. It has been years since I've even tried to speak this language. Pedicabo ego te et irumabo. Yes, I think it's either pedicabo or pedicabo. Pedicabo ego te et irumabo. There we go. Accomplishing something. Couldn't you at least say something simple? Give me an ebrute. You know, give me something like that. I'm now also just, again, I'm thinking of Life of Brian. I'm thinking of the point where the Romans are schooling Brian over writing in Latin. I want revenge for the sake of getting my goddamn revenge. Do you get that, Anduin? Are you so completely obsessed, Violetta? So what if I am? I'll say it one more time, Anduin. Take out your gun. Anduin, please don't take out your gun. I'd rather not.
You people, I don't think I'll even remember your faces after this one.
Shit.
Anyway, let's just get started.
Shit, I don't actually have the things that... Oh, I've missed someone.
I
That's
will not
why.
back down. You really think you'll get away?
I was supposed to put in another... Oh, fuck.
You've never ever noticed the hideous grins of conspirators.
No, I've messed up already. I knew I was doing something wrong. I forgot the second Vanguard. I was gonna bring a second Vanguard. You can put gravel in that tile. Gravel's already down. Gavial. Yes. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nah.
Fear not! Here I come!
Oh, I didn't bring a cheap defender either.
Your orders, please. Can't you hear the children's cries?
Wait. Yep. Oh, where do I want to do it? I'll do it here.
I'm ready to fight. That's not my specialty.
I hope I'm doing the right thing with this. No, I'm not. Oh, maybe not. Okay, that's not too much damage.
That's not my specialty.
Your orders, please. Can't you hear the children's cries?
Oh, I was supposed to take... Fuck, I was supposed to take out, I was supposed to redeploy Gavial ages ago. Oh, shit. When did you get there? You weren't supposed to be there. What do you mean, you weren't supposed to be there? You were just never there.
Now's the time to help everyone out. Roger.
Oh, I shouldn't have done this. I needed to wait until Healer was back. Fuck me.
Can I really do it? Stay back!
I also did this too early. Ah, fucking second time I've done that with.
Would you ever imagine friends turning against each
No,
other
it's not gonna work.
and homeland fading into nothing but memories?
Ah. I need to pay attention to where my healers are before doing that. baits with gravel next time. Yeah, oh, I should have. Fucked. I even deselected her for that. Okay, I'm gonna...
Your orders. Would you ever imagine friends turning against each other and homeland fading into nothing but memories?
私ならここに
Right, so he's just going to ignore. Okay, so he just ignores. That's, relatively unfortunate. The fact he can't be blocked is annoying. Yeah, you're telling me. That is, very annoying. But I'm getting my people back soon.
ドクター、戦う時は無理しないで。
That is also unfortunate. Oh, that is very unfortunate. Okay.
I'll do my best.
Oh, I kind of put it in the wrong... Oh no, it's in the right place.
Got it.
But I'm not going to get, I'm not going to get Amiya back. She's not going to have... Even with that, it's going to be too... I'm just going to do that.
I am your shadow.
It's not going to mean much because she's going to target anyway. Shoot. Okay, so it's slowing a little bit.
Any orders for me?
You going to do it again? No.
Would you ever imagine friends turning against each other and homeland fading into nothing but memories?
Can I get away from me? Please!
ドクター、戦う時は無理しないで。
What I don't... Oh, I don't really want that in the be in the middle, though. There it is. That's not really what I want, though.
I'm right here. Everyone believes in me.
指示にして体に違和感があったらすぐ教えてね。
Okay, please, keep doing it, keep doing it.
Gather up, my rats.
Oh, that's not going to be good.
ドクターはきっと僕らを勝利に導いて。
Okay, that wasn't too bad.
指示にして戦う時は無理しないで。
There was a lot of bad there.
Doctor, I won't back down.
Oh, this is not going to be good.
Positioning.
Can't you hear the children's cries?
戦場は戦いだけに気を取られないで。怪我してるよ。Kick ass! I'm ready to fight.
指示に従うよ。戦う時は無理しないで。
Okay. This is unfortunate, but maybe I can let him bleed.
Push forward, Commander! Hurrah! Come on, Sherry.
緊張で筋肉が固まると治療に良くないんだ。力を抜いて。
Maybe if I let him bleed and just get everyone else.
Push forward, Commander! Hurrah!
Unless he's going to be a free. He might be a free.
Doctor, I won't back down. ちょっとからかってあげようっと。Ice not my specialty.
Okay, so 2. That's unfortunate, but I'm willing to let this happen.
The opponent.
Your orders. Can't you hear the children's cries? Your orders, please.
Gather up, my rats.
You'll have to try harder than that.
緊張で筋肉が固まると治療に良くないんだ。力を抜いて。
Can I get away from me, please?
気分は良くなった？ 指示にして戦う時は無理しないで。
I'm listening. Got it. There you are.
God, you lot are tanky. Okay, there we go.
Can you do it?
It's unfortunate we didn't get the 3-star, but if it wins and progresses the story, I'm fine with that for now. I can always come back to it before the event ends. Actually, this is a rerun, isn't it? So it will go into the side story list. Regardless, I'll have it done eventually, don't worry. But still, that was interesting. If I didn't fuck up with Amir at the beginning, and waited to put down the healer first and then did all that, I might have been able to have gotten his phase done sooner. But hey-ho, that's something that I'll work on afterwards. Obsession, is it? This is your obsession. What's wrong with a little obsession? You hearing yourself? I don't care if it's irrational, meaningless, or futile. When I make up my mind to do something, I do it. Why do you think we fight? You can just use the it's lore accurate card. I'm afraid I've been doing that too many times with these enemies. Those empty platitudes of yours, did you think they weren't a form of obsession too? Why are each of us here if not for our own obsessions? A shot rings out. However, the target was not Anduin. Before he realizes it, his gun had left his hand. That's a pretty hand. I mean, what? But he feels at ease, for his gun will forever remain in Laterano. He may never say it, but how can anyone help but love Laterano? I mean, mood. I've been here for like 2 days and I love it. Oh shit! I thought those peaceful days, those joyful times, those happy moments. But because of this love, he has had regrets, guilt, shame, and doubts. He may never become a true Lateran. But in this moment, when he thinks about his gun staying here forever, at this very moment under the glare of the faces looking at him, a kind of peace floats to the surface like a bubble, then pops. He walked 10,000 miles on the path of faith and doubt. I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more, from one path to the next. He thought he was wandering the wilderness far from his roots. But perhaps this is not true. In more ways than one. He whispered a word of gratitude. No one will ever hear it, not in the past, present, or future. But it was enough. Finally, I thought maybe you had dozed off. Come on, cut me some slack. Oh, it was her that shot. Nice. It's hard finding a good sniping vantage point. This is it, Anduin. Hands up. Here, out of obsession. Watch out! Flashbang! How does he still have enough strength left for arts? How could one find salvation alone? Limerin is so good of a shot, she shot a gun out of his hand without failing. Well, to be fair, she did win the, what was it, fast action shooting, wheelchair shooting thing. And was so good that she was told not to come back and do it again. Without falling. Oh! Ah, well. Loophole. She didn't shoot at Anduin. She shot at the gun. The gun is not a Sankta. It sounds like a bullshit loophole, but that's probably what it is. Like, it most likely is a case of, well, I never shot at the angel, I shot at his gun. And that's probably why she shot at the gun as well. She could have taken him out, maybe, but then it would have meant falling. They need to take him alive because, well, I suppose in Fiametta's case she could kill him, but I suppose she's taking the moral high ground. But in any other case, they need to take him alive out of necessity. But no one says you can't shoot a weapon out of someone's hand. It's not aiming with the intent to kill. No, not salvation, but a life with dignity. You come before me because of your sense of justice, and I arrived here because of mine. It comes to myth, to obsession, to ultimately futile crossing. The path was always beneath my feet. Why do we place our hands on salvation? What we have done is not for the sake of salvation, but to save ourselves. Have you come to your senses, Alduin? Alduin? How long is it going to be before I call him Alderaan? Have you come to your senses, Alduin? Then look me in the eye. I felt like I was shooting for a target dummy. I'll walk my own path, whether this is my mission or not. I must thank you, Fiametta. You're welcome. I'll be sure to tell your friends about this epiphany at your funeral. Oh, there it is. I was going to say... As for right now, I'm afraid it's not yet time for that. I still have a use for him. Ah, there's Viliv. Someone blew up one of the support beams. We need to go. Who the... Oh no, it was Oren. It's because the I have a use for him thing. That's what Viliv said about Oren. The explosion was approved. I personally submitted the application and stamped it myself. Oh, I just realised that's probably something they can do unless there's a rule against it. If you're high enough in the ranks, you could approve your own stuff. And I feel like Laterano is probably one of those places where they don't have a rule saying you can't do that. Like, if anywhere is going to allow you to sign off on your own stuff, it probably would be Laterano. Because they'll be like, oh, he's just having fun, he can sign it himself. I love that. I love the idea of that. The explosion was approved and the fact that he signed it himself for his own use. Oren, why you? And Viliv, of course. I was partly right. Laterano is like a high-trust society to level 100 really is. What are you doing, Oren? Is it what you came to... Ah, yeah. Is this what you came to do? Well, cat's out of the bag. Go, Anduin. I'll find you later. Fiametta, Mostima, perhaps we'll meet again. Wheresoever that may be, let us hold on to our obsessions. For now, you say, or for, as you say, they are why we exist. Damn. Please, miss, I must ask you to come down from the signboard. I'll have to call the guards if you don't comply. But while we're at it, I just have to know, how on terror did you end up with a... did you end up there with a wheelchair? Oh, God. Wait, actually... I feel like Lemuel is probably one of those people that's really scary in the sense that they are physically disabled, yet you always find them in some random places. Or maybe it's like that character in Little Britain, if anyone's ever watched that comedy show. The wheelchair character. Oh, there's fan art of this? Oh, I've got to see that. Where there's a will, there's a way. Lemon rocket jump. That dust cloud. Another explosion? There's been so many of those lately. It's starting to seem like a fireworks show than a conference. Excuse me. Could you give me a hand? Sometimes it's easier to get up than to go down. As a cat, I fully sympathize with this. Angry ambassador. You must be joking. What's wrong with Laterano's crisis management? That explosion damaged my collection. I demand an explanation. Why do you have a collection? Why did you bring a collection with you? What? The Lateran bells are ringing for the first time in 1,000 years. Was this prepared by His Holiness as a special welcome for us? The people when Big Ben finally starts ringing again. Being with you barbarians is too much to bear. If not for my respect for His Holiness, I'd... Tell the cook to prepare dinner. I refuse to attend another Lateran banquet. Oh, let me guess. Way too sweet for your liking. Although you look like someone who would like a good sweet food. I feel like surely... Wait, Big Ben doesn't ring anymore? Okay, so a while back, a few years ago, they started renovating Big Ben, which means the bell system couldn't be used to ring. So it stopped. I don't know if it started again. I don't know if they finished it yet, but there was like a good maybe 5 years or something that it's supposed to not ring anymore. I don't know if it's already finished and maybe it's ringing now. I'm not really sure, but I know it rang for New Year's, but that was a one-off thing because of celebration. What the fuck is that guy? He is a very respectable businessman that seems to always be everywhere. I know it's technically a different person each time, but I refuse to believe that. He is the same wine merchant from Victoria. He is the same... what's it called? Colombian businessman who owns everything and possibly Mama John's. But that's what I believe. He's got to be the same person. Probably arms dealing in the side. Also, hello, cat. Hope you're doing well. Can these people really bring change? Most of them are opportunists at best. Yes, this is something that only Laterano can do. Laterano, the city of miracles, forever fair and just. Your Holiness, I will pray for us. Rare to see you so nervous, Villiv. How's stream going? It's going well. We've just finished the boss fight. I didn't really complete it 100%, unfortunately, but we won, so that counts. I'm too old for parlor tricks. All I can do is keep walking as far as I can. Your Holiness, the broadcast is ready. Thank you. Let my words and deeds honour my name and title. Greetings, honoured guests. I am Evangelista the 11th, and I welcome you on behalf of Laterano. We are facing a great challenge. One that threatens not just Laterano, but all nations across Terra. I will laugh if it starts talking about the Seaborn. As you know, our countries are built on the backs of nomadic cities. Indeed, the advent of such cities established the very concept of modern nation-state. In the past, estates were simply a gathering of people of similar lifestyles, huddled together for safety in the face of catastrophe. National borders were simply whatever lay within their sight. This all changed with the birth of nomadic cities. As is the human condition, conflict began to arise as these states interacted with each other. I wonder if there's ever any reference rather to the Mortal Engines, which is also a very similar concept of the moving city. Perhaps even the word conflict is an understatement. I saw the fall of Gaul with my own eyes. The capital of the world fell overnight. Armoured battleships went silent, and the old vanguard of Gaul was reduced to ash. But it was more than Gaul that fell that night. It was the fall of civilization itself. All the might of the Gaulish emperor and his legions could not save an empire that once stood proudly as the centre of all lands. Rip the French, yeah. Is there a race that's linked to Gaul? As in, so like, you know, Iberia is often Liberi, Lateran or Sankta, Ursus is Ursus, Victoria tends to be feline. Like, is there sort of a national Gaul race, so to speak? Or was it just any feline? I think felines. Okay, so we know Phantom is a Gaul assassin. True. What then could possibly preserve our own civilization that the people of Terra have painstakingly built, piece by piece, after the dark cloud of catastrophe? Maybe Voivod? Ooh, that could be possible. Voivod is French as well, isn't it? Laterano gave much for the war that engulfed the entire continent. Our messengers crossed both the wilderness and the royal courts, building Laterano's reputation. Voivod do be French for Wyvern. They live in Voivod. Okay. Maybe other races, but predominant race were felines. Well, cats certainly have the haughtiness to be French. The Sankta heard your calls for peace, but our lands had seen too many shades of this so-called peace, pooling in the dark corners of castles and palaces and tents. We've seen the birth of secrets, meant only to benefit a select few, that lie in wait to undermine peace and order when least expected. According to the wiki, most of the operators with Gaul ties are either feline or Liberi. Okay, interesting. The old wars of conquest may be a distant memory, but in their place we have tacit understandings and secret dealings that determine the fates of lives and nations from out of sight. Today, though, revelation has come. It is my hope that the process of building peace be transparent from the very start. That we will all reject secret agreements between the few. Mate, have you seen the UN? That doesn't happen. There are questions that anyone who does not cling to the past, anyone who is concerned about the future of this land, should be asking. What the fuck are these fish doing coming out of the sea? Like, seriously, that is so weird. Anyway, how do we ensure the survival of civilization? How many people are endangered when peace is threatened? What does safety for one country mean for the safety of other countries? Civilization is key to survival. Peace is something to be shared with others, not hoarded for oneself. As such, I call for the establishment of an accord of mutual assurance between nations. Which fish are you talking about? Seaborn or a gear? Yes. To be fair, I still don't know a gear's agenda, so... We have far more common interests than many would imagine. Lumen gets a pass. He is baby. Terra must stand together or fall together. Evangelista the 11th speech on March 18th, 1099, later known as the Lateran Declaration, is quoted on the first page of every edition of the International Summit Handbook. Oh, so it actually went through? But aren't we already in 1099? You're talking this now as if it's in history.
Not my best work. You can lay it on me for letting a few get away.
Ironic to say that peace should be shared just after telling Anduin that Laterano can't share its peace. Yeah, but that sort of goes back to what I was saying before, where I think both Anduin and the Pope want the same thing, but they both are going at it in different ways, and that's where the discourse is, that's where the disagreement is. There we go. And this should be the last bit of it. The iris fields outside the ecclesia are gentle in the breeze. Their rustle like a farewell, like a soft song. I forgot iris was also a plant. Oh, it's you two again. Different methods. Pope doesn't want to use Laterano methods, and Anduin wants to use Laterano methods to achieve peace, right? It seems like that. It seems like Anduin's aspect is, well, the Sankta manage it, so why can't we do the same for everyone else? But it seems like the Pope's idea is more in line of that League of Nations UN sort of thing. So less about Laterano itself directly, you know, dictating how people should have peace and prosperity and all that, and more so trying to help other nations do it themselves. I think that's kind of the idea. So it's not that... It's that kind of thing. So like he wants the world to improve as well, but whereas Anduin wants everyone to sort of adopt a similar model that Laterano has, or at least originally, the Pope seems more inclined to have others do it for themselves. The Pope wants to teach the world how to fish, Anduin wants Laterano to feed the entire world. Basically, yeah, like that. But funnily enough, I mean, if they do it the way that the Pope wants, that would actually make Laterano even more powerful, because bear in mind, it's often the world orders that aid the other countries in, you know, building up and stuff like that. So technically it works in Laterano's favour to do it this way, more so than just doing everything themselves. Since Laterano is so small, the Pope does not believe that Laterano can save the world. Pretty much. Like, it feels like they can't save the world themselves, but they can give people the tools and the knowledge to do it, I think is probably the thing. Yeah. I was treating this like a holiday in Laterano. Never thought something like this would happen. Kierag is a theocracy too. So, why couldn't we have done this? Laterano's much more influential. The Legati were all part of the Apostles' plan. We simply don't have that sort of foundation. Influence, eh? It's only after leaving Kierag that I learned how troublesome influence can be. Pretty amazing how Ensiodas managed to negotiate with our neighbouring countries all on his own. Silver Ash. Right. There it was, yeah. For some reason I was thinking the other one. I was thinking Gnosis. The Saintess's influence is on the rise too. We have our own advantages. But do you really think what the Lateran Pope is talking about is possible? I don't know. I can't imagine a world where all the nations are so tightly entwined with each other. It sounds like a dream, or maybe a nightmare. You know, it does actually kind of make me think, because I've never actually thought about this before. How did the worlds and nations... How did the nations before... The League of Nations, I suppose, would probably have been the first one, but before the League of Nations, before the UN, I wonder how they thought about it. I mean, let's be honest, neither of those two organizations have really done much, but even still, it has happened. Like, you know, what was it like? Did the Prime Minister of Britain talk to the then leader of reunified France after the Second World War, and they talked about it like, this UN idea, do you really think it sounds plausible? No, my friend, I don't. like, do you think they thought about it? There must have been a lot of doubt, and people still doubt it now, and they have every reason to. But I wonder if there were people who never thought it was even possible, let alone the stage it is now. Like, it must have felt as alien to them as it does to these people. But no one can ignore the miracle that happened that day, or the Pope's speech. Is Laterano really a blessed city? What do the Sancta think of all this, Azel? Oh, Azel's still here? Wait, how do you know his name? I don't remember you two conversing before. Why are you still here? I thought you left already. Huh? Well, it was stunning. Figured as much. Apparently that bell has not rung for 1,000 years. So, what will happen to Laterano now? Perhaps not all that much. From what I know of the Laterans, or maybe it's the same everywhere. Turning points in history don't always seem so important at the time. But we do perceive that change is happening, and we'll take up our own duties and responsibilities. Well said, brother. I still want to know at what point did these two start conversing. They seem to... Did I miss something? You can leave us here. We have a car on the way. Oh, maybe he's just... Okay, he's just escorting them. That's the context. Okay, he's just been escorting them for a while. I'm still surprised he's here, though. I thought he had already left with Cecilia. I thought he would have gone out of Dodge immediately. No problem. Cardinal Villiv is at the hospital not far from here. I'll be reporting back to her directly. Please, give her our thanks. As long as you're satisfied, those were her instructions. Nothing gets past her, huh? Say, can you take a photo of me and my husband? Sure. Cute. That's really cute. How's that? You're a pretty good photographer. Thanks. You're welcome. Peace signs disappears. Say, Fiammetta, do you feel like your steps are heavier than usual? Where's this coming from? You don't feel a weight on your shoulders after what His What His Holiness said? Well, Pope said they both are safe, so probably they aren't in a rush. True. Also, love the canonically married couples in Arknights. Yeah. I do wonder though, are any of the operators have relationships, or is it as ambiguous as every other gacha? There is fan art of the couple photo too. Oh, I've got to see that too. Just sisters. Okay. I feel like it's interesting. I'm not entirely sure if I know of any gachas where characters that you actually play as are canonically in a relationship. I know there are some hints in some games, but they either have a non-playable partner or no partner at all. I don't think I've ever seen like 2 playable characters be in a relationship. There must be some somewhere, but I'm not sure. I mean, they definitely make it very obvious with, say, Beidou and Ningguang, for example. And people are pointing out Yato and Noir. Get to the point. Well, I'm thinking I'm due for a career change. I'm not really cut out for a job with too much responsibility. And you seem just like the girl to take my... in your dreams. Good afternoon. A long time no see, Azel. It's only been 2 weeks. 2 weeks is a long time. Are you on a mission? An errand on behalf of the Cardinal Villiv. I was just about to report back to her. This is my final task in Laterano. Not bad. Once you've seen the world, you'll realise how boring this place is. There aren't as many great desserts out there, but life is about more than just enjoyment, don't you think? So you're going to meet with Villiv. Where is she? Stavona Central Hospital, where it all began. Well, it began on the street and the house, but, you know, where it kicked off, I suppose. Let's go together then. We're headed the same way. There are people who people think are a couple from chapter 10. True, but that still falls in that same classic gacha line of it's assumed, or it's fan canon, or it's never explicitly stated. Have you made up your mind? Yes, I have. I thought you'd need to mull it over a little longer. I just felt that I can't be the only one standing still. I'm not going to respond to that. I'm not going to respond to that. I'm not going to respond to that. While everyone else has already taken the next step. No, bad karma. Then I have nothing to add. I'm glad you've accepted. It's wonderful to have someone like you join us. Times being what they are. Heligo has a wife, if I remember correctly. True, but I'm assuming not a playable one. I knew you'd be here, Villiv. How did you... We ran into Azel. The emissaries from Kierag have reached their destination. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but Kierag sounds like a place you'd get in Warhammer 40k. It sounds like a planet from there. Good work. But don't leave just yet. I've got another task I could use your presence for. I find it... I still find it strange how she's got such a mischievous look on her face, and yet I just haven't seen any of that. It makes me wonder what it is. You know, does she appear again in the next event? Are we going to see more of that? It feels like Yerag. Oh, is the case silent then? Because I know the J makes a Y sound, but I wouldn't expect the K to, especially if it is based on Nordic. Yeah. But don't leave just yet. I've got another task I could use your presence for. Understood. See you next week, Limwen. See you. Have you decided to join the 7th Tribunal, Limwen? Already on the job? It won't be easy over there. After this conference. Don't you think we're a match made in heaven, though? I suppose. You've all chosen your paths. It's about time for me to think about what I can do too. Just wondering, so apparently Jesus is canonical. Is he part of Lateran, or is he part of a different thing? Speaking of, I was just talking to Fiammetta about quitting my job as a legata. Too much trouble? I mean, with the old man, I can already see the trouble waiting in the future. Didn't someone say Jesus was canon? Someone said that he apparently is mentioned. Or at least maybe someone used the term or something. It's been a thing that's been mentioned a few times in chat. Apparently people have mentioned the name and therefore it would imply that he's canon. And I've always found that funny, because if that is the case, like, you know, even if it's not supposed to be, maybe it was just writing it, but if it was, I'd say it was a localization slip-up. Yeah, most likely. But I think it's funny, because it's like, I'm still imagining, like, Jesus with a shotgun. That'd be funny. He may not turn water into wine, but he can certainly send about several pellets downrange. But you're not getting away that easily, Mostima. You answer to me now. Oh? Here's your first job. Bring this letter to Elle. Can I say no? Nope. Deliver it to her personally. Unemployment is sounding more appealing by the second. Mood. Quit it with the lame excuses. And there's my old taskmaster. I legit never seen the name mentioned, and it wouldn't be wise. Oh no, I definitely don't. I think it probably was just mentioned, but it's been mentioned in my chat several times throughout the start, and I always assumed it was something that I missed. I'll have to double check, because it could also just be a meme. Maybe people were joking about the Lateran Catholicism, and I just didn't see that it was a joke. Kind of like the W and cockroach thing, which I assumed was literal, because people always said that she was a cockroach. So it might have just been that I took it at face value. You won't give up. How can you be so sure? Don't pretend that you don't need this job. You're looking for an answer, aren't you? I'm not Anduin. I didn't say that you were. But you have a choice to make about who you are. And to find that answer, one must have journeyed far enough. She's a Legatus, she's been everywhere. So how does it feel to be seen right through, Mostima? Sounds like you don't even need a halo. This is my own path, then. You shouldn't follow me, Fiammetta. You think the world revolves around you? We just happen to be taking the same road. I have his gun. If he still sees himself as Sankta, he'll be back for it. Then he'll pay for what he did. And you'll help me. Fine. By the way, the Astray that were caught in the city have been set free. Huh? Is that His Holiness's will? Uh-huh. His mercy is none of my business. Sophia Mesa is now triple wielding. I thought you might say something like that. Oh, and you'll be dispatched to Rhode Island under the agreement with the Notarial Hall through the 5th Tribunal. Hey, there's the Rhode Island bit. There we go. The first and maybe only time Rhode Island even has a mention in this event. They mean the Sarkaz, the Astray? No, they mean the Legatus and other people that were on the side of the Pathfinders. I do wonder, because Anduin's gun was a flintlock, do you think that that's a single fire before needing a reload? Or do you think it's just purely for show because, I don't know, art's magic, maybe it can shoot multiple times, but it just looks like a flintlock for design reasons? To be fair, Rhode Island wasn't mentioned much in Sidokazano Event 2. True, no, it was Penguin Logistics, wasn't it? You mean the pharmaceutical company that Mestima and Lemuel work part-time at? Wait, why did you... I don't know. Hello, every time Rhode Island is mentioned, we're like an orphanage to new ops. Yeah, it really is. Where's this coming from? Viliv wants to deepen our cooperation. You're as good as anyone for the role. Plus, we have a good track record with them. You should be well supported. Alright. Oh, by the way, I have some really good news for you. You get to choose from one of the 3 code names for your next mission. Do I really have to keep up this farce now that you're our liaison? We only use a temporary name in the first place because there's no clear role for keeping tabs on her. Huh? I've had enough of these monthly name changes. Didn't you like Shimmering Vigil? What was it that you said? They've finally come up with a decent name? Wait, you actually said that after all the times that you disliked saying that you hated it? Shut up. Hey, nice flowers. I hate to break it to you, but the tradition of changing your title has become a rule unto itself. Just accept it. It's become such a thing, law itself has written it into the commandments. Here are your choices. Void Gourmet, Wasteland Pilot, or Dawn Destroyer. What the fuck are these names? Those are awful names. I mean, some of them are relatively decent names on their own, but none of them would fit. Dawn Destroyer. She doesn't even question it. She just goes, fine, I'll go with 3. Man, your tastes are so easy to guess. I told you to shut up already. Weren't they all inspired by movie titles? I'm not sure. I don't remember those. I don't recognize those titles if that's the case. Unless it's like movies in China that translated to English, so I wouldn't recognize it. But otherwise, I don't recognize the titles. You're awake. You were trying to cross the border, weren't you? Luck has really not been on my side lately. I think they explained in Code of Brawl. Oh! Movies in Terror. Okay, yeah. Yeah, of course, that makes more sense. I thought you meant more so as in Hypergriff, right? Based on movie titles. What's wrong? Getting bed sores from too much laying down? No, forget I said anything. Huh? Azel? I wanted him to see what happens to those who come close to betraying Laterano. So Nyan is indirectly responsible for Fiametta's suffering. Imagine if she knows that those are the movies, that she's the director of those movies that they base it on, and she eventually comes across Nyan, looks at her and goes, "You!" Just Angry Bird shoots at her. Stop bullying the kid, Valiv. Are you implying that I'm not young myself? Oh, you've made a big mistake, Oren. Sorry. You're no longer a legatus. If that's the price I must pay, then... But you're still my subordinate. It's a heavy one. I do love the interactions between these two. I don't like him that much, but I do like the way the two bounce off each other. It's funny because it's like he tries to be Roy, but he ends up being more like Monique in terms of the way he acts with people. But it's like, I do like the way they bounce off each other. You talk a big talk, Oren. Let's see what you've learned in Victoria. Does that mean you need me to do things my way? Remember that question you asked? I can answer it now. I have no interest in being a woman of integrity, but I respect those who have worked hard to earn the title. It's funny that she's a cardinal, because cardinals are like religious positions. At least in the UK, it's I think it's a rank above like priests and that, the cardinals. Because Wolsey in, I don't know, Tudor times, I think it was a cardinal. They are quite powerful though, so it does explain her position with the Pope and all that. Well, I can't argue with that. Was that intended for me as well? Of course. Treasure the opportunity you've been given with Cecilia. Don't ever let me know what influence she will have on Laterano. You don't want her returning here? If I didn't, why would I waste time crafting an identity for her? Maybe for each cardinal sin, a fitting cardinal? Maybe. I know cardinal is also a rank. It is an actual position in the church. So it's either referring to that, but it would be interesting if it is actually also a double meaning for something like that. But because we don't know any of the other cardinals, we can't really make any comparison. Other than, well, compassion, and the fact that she still has potential value that outweighs her risks. Trust me, there's no harm in getting this sort of candid promise. I understand. No need to be nervous, I'm simply expressing Laterano's sincerity. If you two ever get tired of travelling, Laterano will be here. Her doors will be open. Come in. Federico? Again, appears for reasons. He's just sort of been here. Like he's just around. Cardinal Valiv, here are the past 2 years of records regarding the activities of the former legatus Oren Argiolus. Thank you, Executor Federico. She's essentially looking at his browser history. Gee, I thought that was a knock at my door. It's midnight. Oh, just in case. There is reason to believe that Executor Rochelle may be his accomplice. Should I summon him? No need. He'll only claim to have been tricked by an old classmate. Now, won't he, Oren? Remind me to never pick a fight with you again. I'll let Relish be. Relish? I'll let Rochelle be for now. But I would like to speak with him, though, or through you, when it's convenient. You don't have a problem with that, do you? Better than a knock on your window when you live in an upper floor apartment. Oof. Relish. Who is Rochelle again? He is Ida. No, not at all. Then, the two of them have been dealt with for the moment. Executed Federico? Hold on, Federico. What is it? I've been thinking, it couldn't have been easy to deduce that it was Feodia who met with the Sarkaz just from a few sentences in a journal. Why were you so obsessed? Who were you seeking? Arturia. Arturia, huh? Arturia? The wanted criminal? What exactly is your relationship with her? A distant relative. Seriously, man. If I could stand right now, I'd be dragging you to the nearest bar. I don't have time. You do, because I happened to run into an infamous fugitive a few years back by the name of Arturia. Wait, calm down, Vilev. I feel like that was a death glare at him. It's just like, calm down. I wasn't looking for her, it was just a coincidence. Seriously, I'd like to think of myself as a veteran, but just thinking back on that experience sends shivers down my spines. Who is Arturia? I don't think I've ever seen the name mentioned before. Where did you see her? 3 years ago in Lifanian. I thought it was going to be a flashback for a moment. Ah, speaking of Ida. Miss Rizal. Cecilia. That's a lot of hairs there. Rochelle. The paperwork is in order. It is now free to leave Laterano. Thank you, Rochelle. Just doing my job. You know where you're going, right? Well, we'll meet up with Federico and join a company by the name of Rhode Island. There we go. It's canon. Cecilia is already part of Rhode Island. Would you rather a smile? At least that's the evil that I'm familiar with. I suppose it's less of an evil and more of the those people that you meet in the ancient Greek stories, the ones that always give you the prophecies. Like you see the smile, and it's either going to be good or it's going to be bad, and you don't know. Oracles, there we go, thank you. Under a cooperation agreement, apparently it's more convenient this way, since we'll be spending a lot of time outside. Good, I've already contacted them. But you're still an executor for the Notorial Hall. Missions will be issued to you through Rhode Island when it's convenient for you to return. When it's inconvenient for you to return. But that said, I have a hunch that your journey with her will go smoothly. You might find what you're looking for sooner rather than later. And my hunches are usually right. I still remember when I saw this guy in the trailer and the white background almost hid his wings and halo. So he just looks like a literal regular guy that you just absolutely never see in Arknights because people always have something special about them. and it confused me so much when I was watching it on stream. I'm like, this is just a dude. What is he? Who is he? And my hunches are usually right. Thanks. I'll be going, then. Goodbye, Cecilia. Bye-bye, Mr. Rochelle. Chew! Yikes, I'm getting a hunch that something bad's gonna happen. Don't say that as you're leaving. Rochelle is an eccentric one too. Hey, wait. How did he know that we're looking for something? What's wrong, Miss Rizal? Nothing. Is there anything else you want to do before we go? Or to say before we go? The girl lets go of the young Sancta's hand and walks to the center of the flower field. I'm leaving Laterano, Mama. But I'm not running away. I'm gonna find Papa on my own and tell him what you said. I want to see the outside world for myself. I want to see Castel. Oh, let's put the brakes on that one. Maybe wait a few years. I'm happy, Mama. Now, just like before. Please, watch over me. Please don't say that, Speedy. Please don't say that. Can I pick a white flower? Of course. Thank you. You want to take this flower? Uh-huh. Sorry, I read that the wrong way round. I thought she was offering it to him for a moment. Fresh flowers won't last long. I can press it for you. Will you teach me? I want to learn for myself. Thanks, Mr. Ezel. They could really be taken for a sibling. They do look very similar. It certainly wouldn't... If I saw them two just in general, I would think they were siblings, to be fair. Huh? I'm the one who should be thanking you. Huh? Is that... Their eyes are almost similar as well. A little bit more blue than the purple, but it's not too far off. Oh, you're still here. Patia, are you really coming with me? Of course. I was thinking you could stay here. I'm going to say this now. Patia reminds me of another character, and I just can't think of who. There's someone that... In my head, I'm just like... It's either like a similar face or a similar pose. I feel like I've just seen someone similar before. Seela? No, in Arknights. Mandragora? Maybe? I'll have to double check. Laterano doesn't have what I'm looking for. Hmm? What is it, Patia? Greythroat? Ooh, maybe? Fiametta, but grey. Less so. Maybe face. Maybe when they do the pog face. Excuse me, that was out of line. But... Did you just smile? She reminded me of Greythroat. It could be. It's been a long time since I've seen Greythroat, so that might be why I can't put a finger on it. Not to say that you don't normally, it's just that, well, something seems different. For many years, I thought we walked alone in the wilderness. I was arrogant and immature. Did you hear the old man's speech? I heard the second half when it woke me up. It was being broadcast all over the city, loudly. Evangelista, the patron saint of sacrifice and unity. Perhaps he would go even further than the 10 who took their name before him. La Plume a bit. I think at this point we're basically just pointing out every single Liberi, and I feel like maybe we should stop before it seems like we're profiling. What a grand yet fragile vision. But one upon which I offer my blessings. And Dwayne, let's walk around aimlessly, but I always wanted to see that place Rhode Island come from. Let's go. God. It would be funny if they all... Can you imagine that? You've got Ezel, Fiametta, and Anduin walk into Rhode Island. It sounds like the start of a bad joke. What did you learn that day? It's not important, Patia. Not so important, anyway. Even if there is no reward for waiting at the end of the journey, the act of continuing onward in itself, carrying the torch, is in itself carrying the torch. Therefore, I will continue onward. I feel like there'll be explosions everywhere. Fiametta will be constantly attacking Anduin. Ezel would be crouched in a corner crying, with Cecilia having to make sure he's okay. Meanwhile, Calcit is just in her office. She can hear an explosion. Heads against the desk. I need to retire. Yeah, we do not trade for blessings nor for pity. We walk the path that we believe in. Because it is the only way to live with dignity, is it not? We should depart. Guide before the sun sets. Also, I'm just going to say it now. It's been a while since I've seen Arknights, but every time I see her, I do think of Teresa. It's different, but I think it's something with the hair. Doctor sips coffee. Just another day with zero sanity, yeah. I assume Doctor is collateral damage in that fight. Oh yeah, no, he's already on the ground. There's like, you know, like smolder and like explosion marks everywhere around him. We should depart, guide, before the sun sets. Let us go, my brothers and sisters. The girl of mixed blood sees the leader take the first step. The setting sun illuminates the halo on his head like a crown. She recalls the stories of the saints that her mother would tell her, and the words that her mother placed so many emphasis on. She does not fully understand its meaning or its symbolism. For some reason, though, it comes to mind when she sees that faraway figure, Martyr. What are you looking at, Cecilia? No, nothing. The sunset is beautiful. The girl looks about her, at the flowers, at the church, at the statue and the bell. Oh, and the bell tower. So far away now. She takes the young Sankta's hand, and the two of them begin to walk into the distance. They ride out into the sunset. Her steps are slow, but she does not look back. This is honestly the best possible ending she can get, and I'm somewhat happy that an Arknight story has actually treated a kid well for once. But unless there's a bit of cutscene, nope, there's no bit of cutscene here, so that is it. Oh god. Oh Jesus, some of Fiametta's artwork on Google is unhinged. Oh, have you seen the Angry Bird stuff? In the PV, you can see them holding hands together and walking out. Oh, that's nice. I will have to look at that at some point. Oh. But wow, yep, that is it. We have finished the story. Obviously, I'm going to go through. I'm going to max out Enforcer, hopefully. Hopefully, I'll have the time throughout the week to do it. Thoughts on the overall story? I absolutely love it. I think it was a really well written story, and I know I keep saying it, every time a new event comes out I'm always like, oh, this is my favourite event so far, but again, my favourite event that I've played, it's very much up there with like Il Sudokusano in my opinion. And I love that it's like, I don't want to say nothing bad happens, obviously there were bad things that happened, but like, you know, nothing Arknights level of bad happened. It was just two sides of an argument, really. Like, it started off as a relatively extreme custody battle, and then it ended as a heated discussion of viewpoints. Like, there was no need to kill, well, besides Fiametta, who kind of wanted to, there was no need to kill each other. There was no, like, Jesus, can't remember, mom died in the cutscene. That's why I corrected myself in saying, well, there were bad things that happened, but I meant like the overall story wasn't of bad things. Like it, you know, like think of some of the Arknight stuff where it's, you know, relatively depressing and it's, you know, it's quite bad as things that just like really annoys you and stuff like that. This story is kind of a bit of a fresh air in that sort of way. Like it's a bit of a palate cleanser. Like it's sort of, it just doesn't really do that. It's sort of like, for a while at least, there was a lot of the unfairness is just sort of not really there. It was all personal stories, basically. It was all about these people and the stuff that they do. How do you feel about Anduin itself? I gotta admit, I like him, and to an extent, I don't necessarily support him in a sense, because I do think that his method won't work. I do agree with the Pope in that sense. I think what the Pope's doing with the League of Nations thing is more sustainable, but you can't help but hope that somehow Anduin would be able to do what it is he wants to do, or at the very least have something from it. Maybe seeing the law for what it truly is might have given him fresh ideas. And I kind of hope so in that way. We really needed this event, to be honest. A great palate cleanser, as you said, yeah. Plus, we don't fully understand how the law works, so Anduin would have a hard time achieving it, yeah. I feel like my hope is that Anduin actually coming across the law and seeing it for what it truly is, I feel like that might give him some fresh perspective, that he might still go down the path he's going, but at the very least it might not be as naive as it was before. Maybe he's not going to be like, you know, Laterano does everything sort of thing anymore, but it might be a variation of that. And I do kind of hope that the Pope and Anduin, with their own ideas of how they should do things, I hope that they're doing their own paths, but I do hope that they eventually meet up, like their paths converge, and they both come to an idea that works both ways. So they both realise ways of doing it. Because it seems like the Pope was still open to... Well, like, you know, he knew that it wasn't going to work with how Anduin hopes things would happen. But at the same time, he was very... He still had that sort of like hope in it. Like he's sort of like, you know, he hopes that at the very least he's wrong about his viewpoint of the world. So I feel like he can see what Anduin sees in terms of the people around him. Or in terms of people around, in terms of the world around them. So like he can understand what he sees at least. But he sees it more pragmatic. So I feel like if they can both have their journeys and then converge at some point in the future, they might both have a perspective that aligns up better. And I kind of feel like that's probably where Anduin's going. But yeah, I do love that all the conflict in this story has been all personal. It's just things between people. It wasn't any sort of grand scale of right and wrong. It wasn't, you know, these hidden evils and stuff like that. It was just people with their own ideas, wanting to do things the way that they feel is right, and they never really, you know, they don't really, like, besides, you know, trying to kill Anduin, and I suppose, there's not really much of a point in which anyone's trying to hurt each other, at least that bad. Like, you know, no one wanted to just flat out end Giselle while he was, you know, quote unquote on the run. No one wanted to. None of the people fighting Oren or Oren fighting the people really wanted in particular to kill each other by the looks of it. They were just sort of, they wanted to stop each other any means, but they tried to avoid for the most part. They just wanted to stall each other half the time. And while I'm sure in Oren's case it probably was a little bit more malice, he definitely wasn't on the more extreme end of these sorts of ideas. It's the fact that they just, you know, it was all just people being people in that sense. There was no desperation in that regard. And I suppose there's also the fact that it ended well. That's kind of the thing. I mean, to be fair, Surukusano ended well as well. I'd say Surukusano ended in a similar high note, but it was still a bit up in the air as to how things would happen. In this case, it's more just the end of a chapter. It's quite nice in that regard. Like, it feels like the main characters that you follow actually won something. You know, Ezel got his goal, he protected Cecilia and is still protecting her. Cecilia set out to do what she did. She's, at the very least, gotten some closure. The Pope got to do, you know, his thing. He's done the summit, he's done that, he's gotten to the bottom of, you know, the issues that were happening. The Pathfinders got their way. They might not necessarily keep Cecilia, but they still got her out of Laterano. It's as if everyone won. Maybe not Oren. Oren's probably the only loser here, but I mean, he's a loser by default. But it's one of those things where it's like, everyone, or at the very least almost everyone, sort of has their happy ending, at least for now. So that's the thing that I like about it. It's a lot calmer. It's nicer in that regard, I think. And yeah, as I mentioned before about being a palate cleanser, it very much is that sort of, you know, when you're constantly having to deal with like the main story, the more darker events, stuff like that, having these ones where it's just the story of individual people just doing things a little bit hectic, a little bit chaotic, you know, there's action, it's a game, you have to have some action. And then you rage onto EX8, well, yeah. But that's just the thing that I like, it's just the story of people doing their things. And that's really what I liked about it. But that's my thoughts on the matter anyway. And I think I shall leave it here. I'm glad that I made good time of it because I do have work in the morning. I was a little bit worried that it would take really long. I suppose it would have if I tried to do a perfect run on the boss battle. But still, I thoroughly enjoyed this event. I really enjoyed this event. It is definitely by far one of my favorite events just because of how nice it was. But that's it for now. For those of you who haven't joined or who may be new here, I do have a Discord, if I can spell it right. If I can spell it right. You know, I should just have alternate spellings as commands for when I do that. There we go. I should just have alternate commands for my most common misspellings. But anyway, yeah, so there's a Discord for anyone who still hasn't joined or anyone who wants to. It's also in my description, I believe, for anyone who's watching the VOD. If you've reached this far, then I commend you. I know it can be quite a hassle watching a full length, well, what is practically an epic length movie worth of a video. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for hanging around, and until next time, I shall see you all later. Bye bye.